Hello, my name is Beatrice Daskas and I'm a Byzantinist with a background in art history and textual criticism. My research explores the cultural, intellectual and political interactions between Byzantium, the Eastern Mediterranean and Venice, with a particular interest in the dynamic relationship between word and image. I study how texts and visual media work together to shape cultural memory, convey authority and construct identities across shifting political and religious contexts. I'm currently affiliated with Ca' Foscari University in Venice and I've also held research fellowships at Dumbarton Oaks, Ludwig Maximilian University of Munich and Princeton University. Since my arrival in Venice, much of my work has been devoted to exploring the city's deep and complex ties with the Byzantine East. I began with a project on the now lost Church of the Holy Apostles in Constantinople, one of Byzantium's most important imperial foundations, whose forms and symbolic resonances are famously echoed in the Basilica of San Marco in Venice. Through this research, I became fascinated by the ways in which Venice appropriated and reinterpreted Byzantine traditions, while at the same time keeping its own careful distance from Byzantium, a state that was, paradoxically, a model, a rival, and a contested authority. Building on this interest, I turned to the Venetian presence in the Eastern Mediterranean, focusing especially on the island of Crete and the Venetian rule. My research has examined the intellectual life of the colony, asking how local elites negotiated identities, privileges, and loyalties within the framework of Venetian governance. I focused in particular on Francesco Barozzi's 16th century description of Crete, a fascinating text that blends geographical and historical narrative with subtle strategies of Venetian propaganda. It reveals how the Serenissima crafted powerful images of belonging and legitimacy within its colonial empire. Within the broader framework of my engagement with intellectual history and the history of ideas, I've been recently working on Nicholas Messariti's account of the coup of John the Fat, a vivid narrative written in the aftermath of the Crusaders' takeover of Constantinople in 1204. Messaritis provides an unparalleled description of the Church of the Theotokos of the Pharos, the Byzantine Sainte-Chapelle, which housed the most sacred relics of Christendom. As keeper of this chapel, he knew the treasuries intimately, and he witnessed their dispersal after the sack of Constantinople, when many relics were seized by Western prelates and merchants, including, of course, Venetians. This research offers a natural bridge to my current project at ANAMED. Here, I will investigate the appropriation and resignification of the Pharos Chapel and its treasuries across Byzantium, Venice, and the Latin West. I'm especially interested in how the chapel and its relics were perceived, claimed, and reimagined across Byzantium and the Latin West. These projects allow me to explore the wider period between the end of iconoclasm and the establishment of the Latin rule in Constantinople in the aftermath of the Fourth Crusade, an era of profound interconnection, rivalry, and negotiation between Byzantium and the West. My approach combines close reading of Greek resources with a comparative study of Latin and vernacular materials, situating these texts within their broader political and intellectual contexts. By bringing together written sources, visual evidence, and material culture, I aim to show how the language of power, whether expressed in word, image, or object, was adapted to shifting audiences and deployed to negotiate legitimacy in an age of contested authority. Ultimately, my research is guided by an enduring interest in how texts and images mediate between political realities and the ideals that societies wish to project. By tracing these mediations, I seek to illuminate the mechanisms through which cultural identities are constructed, negotiated, and performed across borders and between competing powers. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation. I greatly look forward to sharing my findings with ANAMED's scholarly community and to engaging with its vibrant intellectual environment. Thank you.